Your biggest AI decision this year isn't which model, it's which IT vendors scale it. You need an AI value multiplier, IT partners that turn pilots into measurable value. I'm Randy McClure with SC Tech Insights. I'll walk you through the 4 diagnostic questions to ask to find your AI multipliers.
So let's dive in and diagnose exactly how to turn your IT infrastructure into an economic driver. Here is the agenda for our boardroom briefing today. We'll start with the AI scaling challenge, then systematically evaluate cloud and digital infrastructure, hardware at the edge, action-driven enterprise software, outcome-based IT services, and finally, evaluating your vendor portfolio. Let's move right into section 1, the AI scaling challenge. Randy McClure sets the stakes perfectly here. He states, every day you wait, the gap widens between turning AI into measurable value and watching your investments stall at the pilot stage. The underlying issue we're facing is that a raw AI model is incredibly ravenous. It demands massive amounts of compute power and data. If you don't have the right IT foundation to multiply the value of that model, you're really just watching your investments stall out. Your strategy only compounds if the IT capabilities surrounding it acts as a true AI multiplier. That brings us to section 2, cloud and digital infrastructure. I want you to ask yourself a direct diagnostic question regarding your supply chain operations. Do your IT infrastructure providers make AI affordable to scale? Or do rising compute costs turn into a bottleneck that quietly drains your business case? You see, AI at scale requires elastic compute, high throughput storage, and predictable cost curves. Fundamentally, your infrastructure shouldn't punish you for operational success. Let's look at the contrast between failure and success. On the left, we have the cloud bottleneck. Imagine a global manufacturer running AI-driven demand forecasting across 50 warehouses, processing millions of data points. If they're locked into a rigid meter gouging contract, that workload becomes financially unsustainable before it even proves its ROI. It's a complete bottleneck. Conversely, look at the cloud multiplier on the right. This approach utilizes elastic scaling and predictable cost curves. Backed by the right vendor, that exact same workload can actually pay for itself within a single quarter because your pricing scales linearly or your performance scales exponentially. Moving on to section 3, hardware at the edge. Time for our next diagnostic question. Does your hardware's physical architecture allow instant insights at the operational edge, or does it force a slow, costly reliance on the cloud? I've seen brilliant AI strategies fail simply because the insight arrived 3 seconds too late. We really have to consider if your physical architecture can support autonomous decisions at the actual speed of your supply chain operations. On the left, we have the hardware bottleneck. Take a logistics operator sorting thousands of packages a minute on a high-speed distribution line. If you have to send image data to a cloud model 2,000 miles away just to figure out how to route a package, real-time routing is impossible. That is cloud latency in a nutshell. Now, on the right is the hardware multiplier. A vendor places edge GPUs directly on the sorting line. In this scenario, the OLI doesn't just see, it classifies and acts instantly, matching the exact speed of a conveyor belt. To capture real value, this physical AI velocity has to be deployed exactly where the work happens. We're targeting environments like the factory floor for manufacturing, the retail aisle for inventory management, and the critical point of care and healthcare logistics. The winning hardware partners are the ones who build a seamless continuum from the cloud all the way down to these highly specific physical edges. Let's transition to section 4, action-driven enterprise software. Here's the highly revealing question for your enterprise software layer. Does your software harness AI for immediate business action, or is it just a digital filing cabinet with a chat box glued on top? Far too many vendors simply overlay a conversational prompt interface onto stale, siloed data and try to sell it as an AI-enabled solution. Frankly, that just isn't enough to drive true automation. A software bottleneck relies heavily on passive dashboards and basic prompt engineering. If your AI can see your data but can't actually move your business, it's really just another dashboard. The software multiplier, however, utilizes multi-agent workflows and high-velocity engines. True multiplier value comes from closing the gap between insight and action without relying on a human being to manually stitch all those process steps together. Let's look at what intelligent action-driven software actually looks like in practice with this port closure response workflow. In step 1, the AI flags a sudden port disruption. Step 2, the system automatically identifies all affected shipments. Step 3, the AI calculates alternative routing and the cost impacts of each of those options. And finally, step 4, it presents a rate set of actions for the dispatcher. One single click executes the reroute. That is intelligence that moves the business. Now for section 5, outcome-based IT services. I'd like you to ask yourself this regarding your implementation partners. Does your IT service provider take responsibility for delivering concrete business outcomes, or were they just billing hours to plug fragmented tools together? With the rapid rise of multi-agent AI workflows, IT absolutely must shift from a traditional reactive break-fix mentality into a proactive economic driver. The service bottleneck is built on billable hours and abandons fly decks. Imagine hiring a consultant for a 200 store inventory system. They deliver a model, bill their hours, and just walk away. 6 months later, your managers are back to using manual spreadsheets. That's a failure. The service multiplier, on the other hand, is built on outcome-based ROI. An outcome-driven partner contractually commits to a measurable target, like a 15% reduction in carrying costs, and they stay actively engaged until that number actually moves. Finally, section 6, evaluating your vendor portfolio. I strongly advise all operations leaders to use this executive summary matrix as a framework to aggressively audit your current vendor contracts. Look across these 4 IT domains. Are you dealing with rigid compute costs, or do you have elastic scaling? Are you suffering from cloud latency or achieving edge velocity? Do your software tools offer passive dashboards or multi-agent action? And are you paying for billable hours or measurable ROI outcomes? Identify the bottlenecks in your portfolio and mandate a shift toward the multipliers.
Hello, this is Randy McClure from SC Tech Insights. Thank you for listening. For more on this topic, click the article link below or go to www.sctechinsights.com for the latest insights on supply chain technology. Thank you and see you next time.